So Niger did not cease to amaze us. Just in is the Niger government, the military administration has terminated its cooperation with the international Francophone body, what we know the international organization created by France, and which has 88 members, which France uses, to influence its cultures globally. Hello, I am Mahlet Ayele, your host at Connect Africa, bringing you the latest from the continent and particularly from the Sahel region because I'm obsessed and I'm following this day by day, and I'm bringing you here. So what happened is today the government of Niger has introduced or has released a statement that saying it has suspended its relation, its or cooperation with the organization of the international Francophone body in which Niger was a member. Just 2 days ago on Friday, we have heard that the last batch of the French military has left Niger. So the Niger government is not joking. So they are doing it surely, I mean, slowly but surely cutting that tie with France. It looks like, practically from what they're doing, they don't want to have anything to do with France. So that's what this act by the military administration of Niger, that's what it demonstrates. Now, this was stated by General Abdurrahman Tihiani, who released this statement as of yesterday. So here is what he said. Okay, I tried to quote few things, important things from what he said. Now, he said the 88-member body has always been used by France as an instrument to defend French interests. Very true. Now, he also said the government of Niger calls on the African people to decolonize their minds and promote their own national language in accordance with the ideas of the founding this founding thing, the length of the transition. Now, many many countries or governments and international organizations that are accusing Niger. What they are saying is for not passing or for not, letting the civil government to come in. Well, initially they were insisting to release the ousted president, but then later on their reasoning is actually, for the military administration to leave power and give it to a civil power. Now, the Niger government has said it again and again. Minimum, it takes them 3 years really to reach to that point, and really. And also they said this is not their focus. Their focus is actually to make sure Niger is independent country, cutting all that tie with neo-colonialism, whether be it in France or any other country. Did it reach to that point? Not yet. But we have seen the French neo-colonialism has come to an end as they are cutting each and everything that relates to, France. Now, whether they are going to abandon the French language following their brothers' footstep, meaning like the Mali and Burkina Faso, that's something to be seen. But particularly about that things, General Abraham Tiani said the length of the transition would be determined after an inclusive national dialogue. He did not actually say when that will it be. Now, let me just give you about this international organization of La Francophonie. It's an organization mainly established to implement, to continue the colonization of France globally and particularly in its former colonies. It's basically an organization that look after implementing of that colonial tax when it comes to the African countries that it used to colonize the Western, the 1440, the 14, Western African states. But also it's not only Africa that France has colonized. I mean, not only also West Africa, in the North Africa, also the West Africa, and then also globally in various places, and even also in Europe. This is how they push, to continue to make, the policy is, they pick that trajectory of globalization, and then this is supported by also the French government, what they call it, the French policy of assimilation. And this French policy of assimilation, it's something they have been using during their colonization time globally, making people everything else except French is a minority group. So when it comes to Africa, because that's what we are talking about, so Africa is a minority group, whether it's Burkina Faso or Niger or Algeria or whatever they have been colonizing, it's a minority group. So everyone has to become a French person, okay? This was the idea. And then to implement the political ideology and colonize them economically and also security wise, everything to make them, to make the people to abandon their identity and basically to become like a French person. And some of them even think that I'm a French, but we have some African brothers and sisters, who are totally in denial while they're living in Africa, but still they think that they are French, okay, because they speak French, or maybe they may have gone to a French school, or they may, and they have been totally showered by a French ideology. So it's really, really, difficult, and it's what that brings the identity crisis. And this is where also the talk of decolonization of the mind comes from. Okay, so now again, a little about this organization. Its stated mission on their website is, of course, it says to promote the French language, support peace and peace and democracy. I mean, it's a joke, but let's continue. They say, okay, support peace and security, peace and democracy, and encourage education and development in Francophone countries. They call them Francophone countries around the world, many of which are former French colonies. Let me give you this. In the African Union, there is a division between the Anglophones, who used to be colonized by Britain, and also there is a Francophone who used to be colonized by France. I mean, the word used to be is very tricky here, because some of them, they are still, by commonwealth, they are they still maintain that colonialism, neo-colonialism from Britain to their colonies in Africa. And then the Francophone countries in Africa, with this organization, by becoming this member, they still continue being colonized by France. So there is this division every time. Wherever something happens, they gang up against each other. Even during the election of a chair, whether it's the chairperson of the African Union or a commissioner of one of the organs of the African Union, you see this battle between, the Anglophone and the Franc, which is really a shame. You see Cameroon, literally brothers and sisters are killing each other, the part of Cameroon who speak English and the part of Cameroon who speak French. Who is sponsoring them? I mean, I leave it for you. Somebody is sponsoring them. So it's really an organization that is a tool for France to continue colonization in its former colonies, and now for our case here in Africa. Now, let me tell you this points, I took it from a research paper. What does it mean, the French policy of assimilation in Africa? Because this is what the organization of the International Francophone Body does in Africa. The policy of French assimilation by taking as an umbrella the globalization trajectory, that philosophy of globalization trajectory. But underneath, this is what they do. The French policy of assimilation, this is literally what they have been implementing during the colonization era. Now, let me list it out. Okay, it's taken from a research paper. First of all, the first objective is to turn African natives into French men by educating them in French language and culture for them to become French citizens. Number two, to dismiss African culture, civilization, and history as non existence or of no value by replacing them with French language, culture, and civilization, and eliminate traditional power networks, institutions, and social traditions. Okay, they take your value, your political idea. I mean, Africa was a kingdom and kingdom before colonization and slavery arrives in the continent, but they take all that, they replace it with their language, with their culture, calling it it's a civilized one. They brainwash you, they totally program you. And that is the bad part of who said this. I think it's Steve Biko. If I'm wrong, I will be happy to correct it. Steve Biko, this Pan-African warrior from South Africa, the most, I am paraphrasing or rephrasing what he said, the most important tool what the colonizer or the oppressor has is the colonized mind of the people. So this is what's happening now. Number three, the objective of this French policy of assimilation is to brainwash Africans by making them to believe that they, meaning African natives slash the French subjects, were barbarians, but were capable of becoming French men by being civilized via the mission of civilisatrice, meaning civilizing mission. French idea that their colonies were meant to civilize the world. Idea of civilizing a civilizing mission rested up on the assumption of the superiority of French culture and perfectibility of humankind. Now, the last one is to make Africans believe that French culture was superior to others and the best of all cultures. I mean, let's ask, each and every one of us, the clothes that we are buying and the schools that we are going, by going, to the French school. Maybe it's for a job reason, or maybe we wanted, to be that French speaker, and because it shows, we are programmed that way, that it shows it projects you as a civilized person. And even to go to the ways that Paris or France, the country France, is portrayed for us, with all that that antics of the African resources, artists and artifacts that are being stolen from the country, from the continent, and we still go to France to see those things. I mean, what kind of people we have become? Don't you see now that these objectives have really worked for France? Let's ask ourselves, let's see people next to each other, people that we know. Isn't this the way we are programmed? So I will leave that for you. But the main thing is now the breaking news is Niger has just terminated cooperation with this organization of the international Francophone body. And so it's really interesting. People have to pay attention what is going on in West Africa, particularly in the Sahel region, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. Later on, please tune in. And I have also a program on the last French army leaving Niger, but still that raises a question mark because behind we still have the U.S. Army, and we see the German Army defense minister just visited Niger last week. What are they doing? And they said they are interested in security. The military alliance. Are we replacing by one Western country by another? What is the Niger government doing? I really want, those of you who are watching from Niger or who knows the issue, why this is happening, please comment below. But thank you very much for tuning in. That was it for us. And I will see you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you like what we bring you here, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. And also, please, let's empower each other with information and knowledge. For those of you who celebrate Christmas, I wish you a Merry Christmas. Most of the time I happen to forget. I have to be honest, I'm an Ethiopian and I do have my own Christmas, which is on January 7. But anyone who is celebrating this, who is observing this, this day, I wish you a Merry Christmas. And we have also our own African Kwanzaa around the corner. So let's celebrate and teach each other. But for now, go and let us know what this action means by the Niger military administration, cutting ties with the Organization of International Francophone body. And the next step, will it be perhaps abandoning the French language, just like what its brothers have done in Mali and in Burkina Faso? That's something time will tell, but we will keep you here at Connect Africa updating, because this is history in the making in our continent, and we cannot just leave it. We have to be part of making this history. We cannot afford to be those Africans who would say to our children, this and this revolution happened in West Africa, in Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. But unfortunately, the leaders have been assassinated. I mean, God forbid, or the revolution have been hijacked or something. We need to amplify their voices and be part of that history making. And I think somehow we are lucky to be part of this generation, for us to see when everything seems really hopeless for the continent. Thank you very much again. So just a little bit shout out Leonie Redwood. Thank you very much. Okay, I tried to keep up. I know I have been I disappeared, but I tried to keep up. I promise. Seriously interesting. Say to the host, what's African Kwanzaa? Let's make a program on that. I will invite people, and that is the African version of Christmas. It's we will invite people and bring an enlightenment. Kwanzaa greetings from tomorrow. Hello, Kwame. Yes, thank you very much, Nakwabatsi. Mystery of Seven. It's going to take a total reprogramming from the colonizers' framework to normalize West Africa, abandoning this hogwash policy. Yes. Miguel Aguilar, hello. Please like the video. Please. Thank you very much for reminding the people. JT Pat, hello to you. Arms of comfort. I really love this great news. Yes, I do too. Trust me, you see my smile. I can't hide my emotion. It's a Pan-African platform. I'm not here to bring you a balanced news. I'm here to give you the African perspective. So you can see that on my face. Blessings and thanks for more good news. Rota T, thank you very much again. So please share the video. That way you help us. If you want to help us further, go to the description section, and I will also pin it in the comment section. You find our PayPal account of Connect Africa, and you can further support us through that. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next one. Tonight, we will see you at 9 p.m. Of the Central European time, or 7 p.m. of the Central European time. I think, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. But it's there. You can go and tune in whenever it's live. Thank you very much, and bye bye.